the one, the only, Ben Sion.
Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Just Daf It as we continue Daf Gittin. Today we're doing Daf Hey number 82. We'll be finishing the penultimate parak in Daf Gittin, the 8th parak. We're starting the 9th parak today, the last parak in Daf Gittin. We're finishing Daf Gittin hopefully a week from tomorrow. So we're on the bottom of Pei Aleph from the Beis, second to last line. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Lo huksharu bo ela eid echad karo bilvad. Aval trei lo. Even according to Rabbi Akiva and Bananas, disagree whether you can use an evet or a gazlan to fill in a get kereach. And everyone agrees you can use a karo. But how many lines can you use a karo for? So Rabbi Yochanan says only one line you can put a karo. Aval trei lo. Doma asyu l'kima v'trei krovim v'chad kasha. Because maybe when you have a get makusha, which normally is 3 signatures, you'll end up using 2 krovim, right? A get kusha has to have at least 2 valid edim. Karov is possible edus. Get makusha is derabanan. So you can use a karov to fill in the space, to make it it's not a bold get kereach. But the 2, it's not. Amar Rav Ashi, Rashi says you can also prove this from a brisa. To kamadali v'tani chad chad. Right? It talks about all the cases. Let's say you had 7 folds and 6 signatures, or 6 folds and 5 signatures. It doesn't say 6 folds and 4 signatures. So you see that the most you can fill in is a karov. 1 karov. Shmamina. So it is a good proof. Amar Abaye, Shmamina. We can bring a different proof for something else. Hi karov chasim ibai ben b'skila b'meimza b'sof. The karov that could fill in this one line of the get kereach doesn't matter whether it's the first signature or the middle signature or the last signature. It doesn't make a difference. Where did Abaye know this from? It doesn't say a place in the brisa where he has to write. So therefore, presumably, the brisa would have noted where he has to sign if it really was halacha. Shmamina, we also learn from the brisa, mikol fasim ekaimin v'lom ba'in retzufin. Right? When you do 3 signatures on a get makusha, it doesn't have to be in order. It doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3. The third one can sign first, and the second, the first, whatever order you want. If you held that you need to do it in order, likbalei makol lahai karo b'tchila ibem so b'sof l'chasher bei tuva. Let's say you have a get makusha with 9 signatures, right? So we could avoid the problem of having, right? We said if you have out of 3 signatures, 2 of them have to be kasher edem. You can't have 2 out of the 3 being a karov. But if you say, let's say the first signature is the karov, so then every 3 signatures you have karov 2 good edem, karov 2 good edem. The fact that it doesn't say this, right? So therefore, it must be, since it can be done out of order, so therefore, you might end up happening 2 krovim next to each other. So therefore, you can prove that again, makusher, you do not need to do a resufin. They came from Rabbi Ami. Amar lai seva hishlam alav evim min ashok. Rabbi Ami paskin the shaila. You know, machlok is Bananas and Rabbi Akiva. Right? Who can you fill in the get kareach? Only a karo, or maybe even eved or a gazla. And Rabbi Ami paskin like Bananas, even an eved can be the 8, and I guess that's how we paskin. That's the finish, the 8th parak. Let's start the final parak of Masechus Gittin. A magarish is ishto, a man who's magarish his wife. He tells her when he's divorcing her. You also have to write this in the get. You write in the get. When he gives it, he says you're muteris to everybody, except for one person. Except for you're muteris to everybody, except for, I don't know, my best friend. Eliezer Matir. Eliezer says it's a good get. It's not a good get. According to the Chachamim, how do you fix this? Take the get, right? The get, it doesn't say in the get. If it's said in the get, we'll see in the that's a problem. But the get doesn't say that. Give it back to her and say, when he gives to her, you're mutar l'chol and don't make a stipulation. If you wrote in the get, even though you erase that clause, it's still possible because what you need at the time of the ksiva, you need it to be a complete get, not something which is a get which is lacking krisos, lacking something of completely severing her from you. The Gemara says, "Iboilu, hi ela chutzu, o al menasu." When it says Ella in the Mishnah, right? He says, I'm divorcing you, that you're muteris to everybody except one person. Does that mean chutz, except for that person? Al menasu, maybe it means something else. Ella means almanas, meaning I'm letting you marry everybody else on condition that you don't marry my best friend. Chutzu the pligi rabbanan. Maybe they're arguing about chutz, and the rabbanan argue over there. The hashayir la begin. Why did the common apostle if you say ella, which means chutz, right? Because he didn't completely sever, because he has to completely allow her to marry everybody. A normal get is mutaris l'kol adam. He wasn't matir for every person. Aval ba'almanas module, but it could be if really he wrote almanas. Wrote almanas in the get, almanas that you don't marry my best friend, module. Rabbana would agree it would be a valid get. Midi dehavi a kol tanai da'alma. We treat it as regular stipulation. You can make a get on the condition that you give me 200 zuz. That works, we know. O dilma almanas. So maybe actually ella means almanasu. O ba'almanasu the poli Rabbi Lezer ad Rabbanan. When it comes to almanas, Rabbi Lezer argues on the Rabbanan and says it's good. But he would agree logically if it says b'chutz, that's not a good get because it's not krisos. He has to matir for everybody. He's not matiring it for everybody. Amar Ravina Tashma. Ravina tries to bring a proof. Call a batin metamim min agoyim. Ela shel ovdei kochav. This is a Mishnah Masechet Nagoyim. All houses in Eretz Yisrael, only in Eretz Yisrael you can have two mas Nagoyim, could become tamim Nagoyim. Ela shel ovdei kochavim. Now, I'll use the word Ella, right? We're Masuk, but we don't know whether the word Ella means, quote, accept, or it means condition. So we'll try to figure out what this means. That makes sense. All the houses can get saras in Eretz Yisrael, except Ovdei Kochavim, which is the halacha. Eliyam Manasu, right? Which is basically, the Mishnah means to say, all Jewish houses become Talmud Goyim on condition that Ovdei Kochavim's houses do not become Tamim. So that would be Almanas lo mitmu b'atei Ovdei Kochavim, who the mitmu b'at Yisrael, ha-mitmu b'atei Ovdei Kochavim lo mitmu b'at Yisrael. It would be a condition, right? If non-Jewish houses don't get saras, so then Jewish houses get saras. But if they do get saras, then even Jewish houses can't get saras. But, right? That doesn't make any sense. Why should that be? Is it even possible that non-Jewish houses can get too much saras? The Bride says, it says that Hashem will place saras in the houses of your ancestral land, which is Eretz Yisrael. Right? It has to be ancestral land. Only Jews inherited Eretz Yisrael. They can't even get saras to begin with, so it doesn't make sense. Whenever it says the word Ella in a Mishnah, it means chutzu, shmamina. That's the proof. And the Gemara says, Masis in the low kaitan. Our Mishnah, which obviously means chutz, right? Ella means chutz. There's an opinion, a Tanaic opinion argues in it. The low kaitan, the Tanya, Amar Rav Yosef Yehuda, Mechleku Rezer Cham Magash Zishto, the Amar Larim, which are the Adam chutz miploni, she'en meguresh. Right? That's what our Mishnah meant to say, chutz. There's the machlokas. The Rabbanan say it's not a good get because he's a Messiah. And Rav says it is a good get. We'll explain Rav Shita in a second. Where do they argue? Al Magarish Ishto, Amar Laharev, Mutaras Chaladam, Al Manas, Shilotinasi Loploni, on condition that you don't marry my best friend. Sherlezer, at the top of PBs and B, Sherlezer Matil Chaladam, Chutz Moso Aish. Lezer allows to marry that person, except he has a good get, and you can't marry the best friend. The Chum say it's not a good. My time with Lezer. What's the reason for Lezer? Midi dehave, I call tonight da'alma. It's like every stipulation in the world, right? It's a regular stipulation. Stipulations work by Gittin. Rabbanon called tonight da'alma lo shayir lebeget. A different stipulation, right? You say, I'm giving you a get on condition you give me $200. That is the whole purpose of the get. It's to mati her to everybody. That allows her to marry everybody. Here, this Tanai restricts her freedom from the get, and it's not a good Tanai. Our Mishnah, my time. So our Mishnah, not like this time, it says they're arguing about the case of chutz. My time with the Rav Lezer. Why did Rav Lezer say it's good? Right? He's shiur begita. He was meshayir. He's not modding her to everybody. Amar Rav Yanai mishum zaken echad. Amar krav yatzim mibeisa v'halka v'haisal ishacher. Pasuk says she gets divorced, she leaves his house, she goes to another man. I feel though you see from ish, it says ish singular. Even if he's matir only to one person, it's a good gerushin. Rabbana. What do they do with this pasuk? Ha ish l'chol ish v'ish. Ish does not mean a single man. Ish means in general, any man. Every man she has to be muteris. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Rabbi Yochanan gives a different reason. It talks about a divorcee. A divorcee can't marry a Kohen. She's divorced from her husband, so she cannot marry a Kohen. Right? It says Isha, which is singular. Even if she's divorced only from her husband, and she's not mutter to anybody, or she's not mutter to some people, she's psul min hakuna. Alma heavy gita, right? The fact that she's also to the Kohen means she's migurashes. See, it's a get for Rabbana. What do the Rabbana do with this pasuk? Isar kahuna shiny. When it comes to kahuna, right, the halachas about kahuna are different, right? Klape vis-a-vis the halachas of kahuna, she's considered migurashes. But she's not really divorced. But vis-a-vis hilchas kahuna, where the Torah was marba and mitzvah, so Yosef Gohanim, vis-a-vis the Isra of Kohen, she's migurashes. But really, it's not a good gerushin. By Rabbi Abba, Rabbi asked the following question: the kiddushin hayach. What would be our Mishnah's case by Kiddushin, right? Where he says to her, right, you're Mikudeshes to me, right? When you're Makadesh a woman, you ask her la'akul, right? Gerushin, you matter the entire world. When you're Makadesh, the Gemara says in Kiddushin, that Beis and Beis. When you're Makadesh a woman, you answer her to everybody else. What if you say, you're Mikudeshes to me, chutz, or on condition that you're muteris to my best friend? You could ask this question both according to Relezer, both according to the Bana. It's only Relezer says over here, it says ish or isha, right? So therefore the Torah goes out of its way to say, even if the gerushin is not complete, it's a valid gerushin. There you need a complete kinyan, where the one becomes his and nobody else's. Oh Dilma, maybe Relezer would agree, but yotzav haisa, right? The Torah compares Yitzia gerushin to kedushin, to havaya. Just like by gerushin it works, havayit it also works. So by the Rabbanan, you could ask the question according to the Rabbanan. The reason the Rabbanan say by get it doesn't work is you have to completely sever the marriage. You have to matir to everybody. Aval hasam kinyan koldu. There is just a kinyan, and a kinyan could work even if she's muteris to another man. Or maybe there's a connection, just like it doesn't work by gerush, it doesn't work by kiddushin. But Basir the after he asked this, Rabbi asked the question, other pashta. He answered the question himself. The same achlokas they have over here, they'd have by Kiddushin. Meaning, according to the Rabbanan, it would be an invalid Kiddushin. According to Lezer, it would be a valid Kiddushin. Amar Abaye. Abaye says, Intim say Lomar, Isa Lidraba. If Rabbi Abba is correct, Bar Reuven v'Kidsha. If Reuven goes into Makadesh a woman, Chut min Shimon. It says she's Mekudeshes to me. She's usher to everybody else, except the Shimon. Shimon, she's Muteres. Shimon's his brother. Abba Shimon. And then Shimon went, V'Kidsha chus meReuven. And he said the same thing. He says, I'm a Kadisher, except for Reuven. Reuven, she's still Muteres to Umesu. And they both died. It's two brothers. Shneim, Miskabemis and Levi. The third brother, Levi, they could, both of these women, the woman over here, she could do Yibam to Levi. Even though we said in Zakas Yivamos, if it happens in a certain case where a woman is married to two different men, she can't fall to Yibam. It has to be from one brother that died, not from two brothers. My time, what's the reason it's not considered a wife of two brothers? Kedusha the Reuven Ahanu. When Reuven made the Kedushin, it worked, right? The Kedushin worked, because he said, at least according to Rabbi Lezer, it works, right? I'm a Kaddish, you accept my brother Shimon. Shimon, you're Muteris too. Kedushin to Shimon, lo Ahanu. However, Shimon's Kedushin, what did Shimon say? Shimon said, you're Mekudeshes to me, right? And you're Muteris to Reuven. And you remain Muteris to Reuven. So that doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work because after Reuven made the Kedushin, she was, I'm sorry. Right. So the Kedushin was, Reuven made the Kedushin. He said, Mideshes to me, the only person you're mutter to is my brother Shimon. So when Shimon made his Kedushin, you have to answer her on somebody. He didn't answer her on anybody. Kedushin means you're mine, right? Which Reuven left the ability for Shimon to be Makadesh, sure. But he's not answering her on anybody, right? He's not answering because Reuven, he's saying that Reuven's allowed to marry her. And she was already Asura from Reuven's Kedushin, she's Asura to Kuli Alma. and he's not answering on Reuven, so it's not a kedushin. Kedushin has to, for me, yes, and for someone else, no. So his kedushin is ineffective, and it's only Reuven's wife, and therefore Levi to Yibam. It's not a wife of two brothers. However, so the Gemara says, "Ella Eisha Shnei Mesim Hechem Mishkas." We know there's a case. The Gemara was talking about a case where you have a wife who is married to two brothers, and we can't do Yibam in that case. Well, where would we find that case? Reuven says, "I'm Kadisher. The only person she's still mutar is my brother Shimon." Ba Shimon Bekitcha stop, and then Shimon was Kadisher stop. The kedusha Reuven Ahanu leMisra Alma. Reuven's kedusha worked because, according to Eliezer, she asked her on everybody else except for Shimon. When most of the whole world she asked her, she's asked her too. The kedusha the Shimon Ahanu leMisra Reuven. Kedusha Shimon actually worked partially because it asked her to Reuven, so it was an effective kedusha. Abaye asked the following question. Amar law, Haread mutaris to Adam, plus Reuven and Shimon. You're mutaris to everybody except for Reuven and Shimon. Again, these questions are only according to Eliezer. According to Rabbanan, doesn't work. Because of Amar law, Reuven and Shimon Mao. And then he went and said, he just said Reuven and Shimon, or you're permitted to Reuven and Shimon Mao. Mi Amrinan. Well, this question would actually be even according to the Rabbanan, because we'll see in a second. Is it a retraction? Maybe he's saying that you're mutar, that you're usher. That you're actually asura to Reuven and Shimon. He was kozer, but we retracted that. Now, mi amrina ma'ida aser shara odilma. Right? He said you're mutar. Sorry, we're about garish over here. I'm getting confused over here. He's magarisher, and he says that you're mutaris to everybody except Reuven and Shimon. You're aser to. And then he said Reuven and Shimon you're permitted to. Mao mi amrina ma'ida aser shara. We say, according to Rabbanan, who said you have to completely divorce her, make her matter to everybody. What he asked her, he permitted. He permitted not only the whole world, but now he's permitting even Reuven and Shimon. So it's a good gerushin. Odilma, ma'ida aser shara, ma'ida shara aser. Maybe when he said Reuven and Shimon, he meant to say, originally he meant to say you're mutter to everybody except Reuven and Shimon. And then he meant to say by saying Reuven and Shimon, he's saying the opposite. He says, really, you're aser to everybody, but you're mutter to Reuven and Shimon, which is also not effective according to Rabbanan. Imtim say lomar. The Gemara continues. Imtim say lomar. If he'll say, top of Pei Gimel and Aleph, my da'aser shara, what he just forbade, he permitted now, right? And therefore, it would be a good gerish. And l'Reuven ma. What if he just says l'Reuven? L'Reuven v'hu adin l'Shimon. Is he now saying you're mutter also to Reuven and Shimon? I had to come with l'Reuven mishum the pasuk pay. The reason he just says Reuven is because that's where he started. So he just started, but he meant Shimon also. Reuven dafka. Maybe he just means Reuven himself. If he'll tell me that we're machmir in a situation, and he only mated Reuven, in which case, according to Rabbanan, it wouldn't be a good gerushin. L'Shimon, ma. What if he said L'Shimon? L'Shimon v'hodin l'Reuven. I had to come with Shimon mishum this halach. The reason he said Shimon is because that was the last one he talked about. That he included Reuven also. Oh, Dilma l'Shimon dafka. Or maybe he only meant Shimon. It wouldn't be a good gerushin. By Ravashi asks, Af l'Shimon ma. What if you even say, even for Shimon? Does he mean to say Af Reuven kai? Does it mean to say I'm also mattering not just Shimon, I'm mattering Reuven? In which case it would be a good gerushin. No, Dilma Af Alma kai. Maybe he's saying Af Shimon, just like the rest of the world you're also mutter to Shimon. But Reuven you're not mutter to. So according to the Rabbanan, it would not be good gerushin. Teiku, the Gemara leaves all these questions unresolved. We're not sure why the luck all these cases. Probably not so relevant to most people. Stay tuned for Ian with Ben Sion, the daily Ian share I give on every daf coming up next.